What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today. ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Okay, it's the 20th day of March, and it's been quite some time that we've talked about Zebec. The assumption, and actually, I want to see, when was the last video that I made on ZBCN? You guys can't see what I'm pulling up here, but it's a different tab. It was on the 25th of February, and I remember exactly what I said on the 25th of February because I made another video on the 21st and another video on the 15th. Okay, so for example, in February I made a video on the 15th, the 21st, and the 27th. All throughout this time we're moving sideways. Every single time throughout here, what I was calling for was a move that basically was right here, if not a little bit higher, something around 0.03, maybe just a little lower, maybe just a little higher. That was the expectation. And I haven't made another video since because all we've done is this. And I know that you guys wanted me to make another video, but I've explained it in other videos that I've made. If you watch the channel on other videos, that once it does something worth talking about, then we'll talk about it. I didn't talk about it yesterday. By the time that that I heard this news, I was already out of my house and going to do things in well, I don't want to get too specific. Going to do things. I was going to work, essentially. In a place that's not in my town. Anyways, ZBCN, Zebec, makes an announcement, and when I heard this, I really wish that I made this video sooner. I wish that I did make a video last night. I was just tired, but whenever I saw this, it's like, man, people are gonna get screwed. People are gonna get screwed. And somebody even mentioned, I think it was ZBCN man. Shout out to ZBCN man, Zebec man. He was talking about the Stellar partnership. I literally said, I'll make a video, but you probably won't like what I have to say. You know, lower highs overall. This is before we actually even went up to this point. The reason why I said you aren't going to like what I have to say is because of what I think is becoming very apparent right now. Hold on, guys. What's very apparent right now is that this news, it really doesn't matter. It's not that it doesn't matter in the long term. This is a big deal. It's pretty cool. Stellar Org has selected Zebec as its global stablecoin payroll infrastructure provider for the Stellar ecosystem. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. And if Stellar becomes a really big deal, and it already is, but like an even bigger deal, and it becomes the dominant force in this crypto ecosystem, that's only going to reflect well for Zebec in the future. Okay, but partnerships themselves, I'm pretty sure they were already partnered, right? This expands our partnership. They were already partnered. So if any of you are thinking, oh, they just partnered with Stellar, I think they were already partnered. So first off, that's a false flag right there. But even if it was, this is the first addressment, whatever, of their partnership. I think this is an advancement of a partnership that was already established. But even if this is the first instance of their partnership, you're going to learn, as I did in the most painful way, partnerships don't mean shit. They don't. Let me say it again for the people in the back so that you know this in your head, okay? I don't care if they partner with IBM. I don't care if they partner with Amazon or Donald Trump. How many projects have partnered with huge corporations, huge families with a lot of money, and you don't even hear about them anymore? They're not even relevant. Partnerships don't mean anything. It's a shake of hands. It's a show of good faith in the public eye, but they don't mean anything. Maybe from that partnership things can develop in the future, and that can give them an advantage. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not a good thing. It's not anything to get too excited about. And anybody who did get excited about this, they bought at the worst possible time. Mark my words. This is not an offense to Zebec. I know that a lot of the Zebecians hate whenever I'm not mega bullish. I've gotten a lot of hate in the past. You guys are very passionate people, and I respect that. That's awesome. But partnerships don't mean anything. Credits. Credits. Have you ever heard of credits? You ever heard of credits? Credits partnered with like 50 companies in 1 year. 50 companies. One of them was IBM. Really massive multi-billion-dollar company. Huge. Have you ever heard of credits? Credits. They developed the fastest blockchain. They had 1 million transactions per second, and they proved it. They proved it. They made it public. They had an audit. They proved it. Have you ever heard of credits? That's my point. That's my point. Zebec is miles ahead of where credits ever was. But I learned through that ecosystem, through that investment myself, which went to 0 in my early days, that partnerships don't mean anything, guys. They don't mean anything. I got excited about every partnership. They're partnering with new people every week. It's so cool. Look at all these partnerships. They don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. If you're hearing this and you're thinking they mean something, no, they don't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, okay? It don't mean anything. Partnership comes, partnership goes. It's as much as like a fart in the wind. People got excited. And I think largely what happened here is you were boring, you're moving sideways, low liquidity, low volume, thin order books. All the sellers went away, all the buyers went away. Nobody's interested in the price action in this direction. So clearly when you break out, you're going to make one swift move in one direction or the other. And I did expect that we would see this kind of movement to the upside. You can go back and watch my last 3 videos. This is something that we called for. From a high to a low point, the golden ratio zone to the 786, 886 area. And you went like right in the heart of that. I would have thought the golden ratio could have happened. And we did say 003 or even a little bit higher. But as time went on, this based off this trend line kind of became less likely that you would go up to 003. I would even say, though, it is possible. You know, the way that I have this trend line drawn here might not even be completely appropriate. Let's try and shave this up a little bit, you know, something like that. It's very possible that we could go higher. And even from here, even with the selling pressure right now, you could go higher. It is possible. Sometimes wacky things happen. We've seen Zebec find support and see a massive move. It sold off and then it went up even higher. We've seen a massive wick and then it went even lower. You know, it's a squirrely thing. And it's probably because it is low volume, low market cap, and so it's easy to push the price around. But make no mistake, you zoom out and you can just see this trend here. This was a very obvious selling point. Okay. Unfortunately, it didn't break out of the range. That doesn't mean Zebec's a piece of crap. None of what I'm saying right now is dogging on Zebec. It's more of addressing this scenario, the situation that's playing out, so that if and when it happens again for any project, any crypto, any stock, any bit of real estate or commodity or whatever kind of investment that you're making, if you hear stuff like this, remember, partnerships don't mean anything. They don't. They might be something to rally behind in the short term, and they might have some productivity in the long term, but really they don't mean anything. It's a fart in the wind. Okay, what matters is the infrastructure. What matters is Zebec is building, they're working, they're networking. That's what matters. Okay. Anyways, let's get into the TA. So very clear here that this was a pump and dump. Very, very clear. Right? The smart money knew what they were doing. Bybit here, a lot of volume at the top. A lot of volume. They sold through here. Distribution came in, and well, now we're reaping the repercussions of that. You look at the 1 hour time frame here on the RSI, you got very overbought, which is awesome, but now you're back down here. In all fairness, again, like I was saying, we really could pump from here and still see higher prices. This could happen. Again, if in the beginning of this video you're hearing Zebec's a piece of crap, it's going to 0, you're not listening to me because I didn't say that once. That's not what I'm saying. I don't know. It could be going lower. We might see lower lows. Maybe we get a complete reversal and go lower. I'm not calling for that. I don't see any signs of that yet. This RSI, for what it's worth, is very neutral, and it took a very bullish shape. We're back at the same area that we've been holding support since like the March 13th, which on the 1 hour time frame, that's a week ago. That's like a lifetime on the 1 hour time frame. I mean, this is where we've consistently found support. This is a bullish looking RSI at the moment, and you're at a point where you'd expect to find support. Not only that, if we take this low here, and actually I want to take an actual low. Should I take this low? Maybe I'll take this low to this high. We might find support here between the 0.5. We might just go back to the golden ratio down here at 0022, 00225. Find support in the golden ratio at prior points of resistance. Look at that. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. It's so perfect. Look at the amount of volume you had coming up, and look at the amount of volume you have coming down. It's not like this is an exuberant amount. Now, there probably was a lot of selling pressure up here, but as we're pushing down, it's not picking up. So there's absolutely a chance that this pulls back. You come back up here, it pulls back, you take a higher high. I really hope you didn't watch the beginning of this video and decide, oh my God, this sounds bad. I'm going to sell here at this low. I bought up here and now I'm going to sell. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we do dump off. Maybe this continues to drop. Maybe you get a little bit of volatility and you get a lower high, and maybe you bought the exact top and you get to sell at a slight loss. Maybe we see a higher high. It's completely possible. Maybe from here, you're actually setting up a springboard that's going to launch you and break you through this downtrend. It's not that bad. I'm not saying the price action is bad. I'm not saying anything negative about that. It's a good pump. You're showing strength. I'm saying, and I'm not even saying anything negative about the partnership. I'm just not saying anything positive about it either. Who cares is what I'm saying. Who cares? Oh, you partnered. Oh, cool. You wiped your ass. That's great. That's what it means to me. Like, I don't care. And the reason why I take such a stance on that is because I used to get very excited about partnerships in the first year that I was involved in crypto. Well, maybe not the first year, like the third year, technically. Or maybe the first 3 years, right? In the bull market, that's great. But in the bear market, I learned, well, it doesn't really mean anything, actually. IBM. They partnered with IBM. Have you ever heard of credits? 0023. Remember that, right? Because if anybody partners with Amazon or they partner with blah, 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 you'll be like, oh my God, that's really exciting. Oh, wait, I remember this doesn't mean anything. Maybe I'll sell, if it looks like it's at a relative area to sell. Not everything is guaranteed. We might see different performances as time goes on. I don't know from a low to a high here if this is the right golden ratio zone to take or if I should be taking, like this low here to this high. But the golden ratio here is at 0022 to 00213. Golden ratio here is at 00226 to 0022. I think this one makes more sense because this is more relevant to this move, I would say, this low to high. And then the golden ratio itself does line up with these highs. Just because it lines up doesn't mean that's the one you should use. I'm really basing it off of this. Don't try to find a golden ratio that lines up with an area that you're looking for. You're cherry picking. And that's not what I'm doing here. I hope you can understand the distinction. But anyways, 4-hour time frame. RSI looks good. It actually looks really good. It looks really good. You guys know my thoughts on this. When you get this deep in the RSI, you typically don't. It's not a one-off move. Typically, doesn't mean that it can't be. We could go lower, but typically you get some type of bearish divergence, some continued price action. So I would expect from here we do see higher prices. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if from here you saw a move that was 10% higher, 20% higher, even above this high. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if that happened over the coming week. You're experiencing some volatility, and the reason why you're experiencing volatility is because, again, kind of a false thought on the partnership, because I think they were already partnered. I'm pretty sure that happened last year in 2025, but this is still good news, right? It's still good news. Partnerships don't, like, this is good news, but partnerships just don't mean anything to me. XLM has partnered with a bunch of projects that are completely irrelevant. Okay, Zebec I don't think is one of them. All I'm saying is that furthering their partnership doesn't mean much to me. Being used in their payroll infrastructure is pretty cool, right? But that means that they're using Zebec as a payroll, probably not. I mean, maybe through their whole ecosystem for like anybody who uses Stellar. Maybe it's just for the Stellar community, the admin, the developers, the business, the centralized ecosystem behind it. I don't know. We're seeing this volatility because it's low volume. The question here is, do we see a lower high, do we see a double top, or do we see a higher high? Does this build higher? Any of those are possible, but I doubt that you're not going to get a chance to sell back above like 0025, okay? Daily time frame. It looks really scary here. It looks so scary. I'm so scared. But the thing is, what you're doing is you're back testing prior areas of resistance for support. It doesn't have to be clean like this. You have a low liquid thing. It can be a little sloppy. That's okay. That's okay, right? Here, you broke through this point of resistance, but really you're finding resistance at somewhere else too. Maybe we break through this point of resistance, but we're finding support at somewhere else too, okay? And if you can break out of this trend, this lower high trend, that will be a big deal, but don't get overzealous there either. It's very common to break right through a trend line. I guess here you didn't break through the trend line. I mean, maybe this is the trend line we have to go for. Maybe I was looking at it wrong to begin with. I feel like if you made a line of best fit, that this looks very appropriate and that this is like where you'd find resistance. Maybe I'm sure, with this actually, looking at this trend line, there's a strong chance that you could go up to like 0032, 0036 from here. Okay? So don't get too bearish. Definitely don't FOMO. Definitely don't FOMO the top, but if I was looking at Zebec and I was looking to buy, this is a perfect place to enter. I think that it will go a little bit lower, but still finding support right? Let's draw a line here. Let's look at the good stuff. Finding support consistently at prior areas of resistance. That's a good thing, guys. Showing support, immaculate bounce. That's a good thing. And let alone if we continue to move up and we hit the actual area where this trend line technically connects. I didn't actually see that. I wish I did that before. Because look, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. That might be what's in store between now and some point in April, over the next week, over the next 3 weeks, who knows? Maybe you don't get above this high, but at this point in time, if I had to guess, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, in the face of this death look here, I think you do continue to move up. Nothing that I'm saying is negative on the price action. Okay? It's more or less happening exactly what we expected to do. I'm not even saying anything negative on the partnership. I'm just not blowing smoke or buttering the bread because I don't care about it. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. I hope you took something from this beyond just emotional offense. That's not the purpose of this. I'm not here to hurt your feelings. I'm also not here to butter the bread. Sometimes I butter the bread, right? But I tell you guys whenever I'm doing that, right? Or at least I'll be like, maybe I'm buttering the bread here, you know? Because I'm a nice guy. I like to butter the bread. I don't like to toast the bread, but sometimes you got to toast it. Sometimes it is going to get a little bit burnt if it deserves it. I'm not burning the bread here, okay? We're not even doing anything with it. I'm going to stop with the shenanigans. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Trust the process. If I had to guess, I would say that Zebec does actually come back and it does see higher prices. That's my guess, okay? That's my guess. Take care. Bye-bye.